Folks, tonight Jon Anderson of Yes is our guest via phone from New York. It was his birthday when we spoke on Friday, 52 years old. We'll preview that new Yes album tonight, Keys to Ascension. Double album hits the stores on Tuesday on the CMC label. Also got we've got Jon Anderson and the new Yes album coming up.
WNLR.
All right, so, hey, we're on. Hi, John, it's Ed Sciaky on the Classic Cafe with Jon Anderson.
So the Eagles won 93-0.
Is that right? You
Can't believe it. And, of course, the 49ers won.
And how about that World Series?
Dallas got beat, and thank God the Yankees won the World Series.
Is that right?
Dallas got beat. Oh, no, wait a minute. Did it win?
Prognostications of that otherworldly person, Jon Anderson. Who's that, Jane?
Jane's saying they won. I said,
I see.
It's a spoof.
All right, John, you are 52 years old. Happy birthday.
I'm 52 going on 50. I'm in my 53rd year now.
Is that right?
Isn't that wonderful?
Tell Jane to shut up.
Jane, just cool it. She's getting very excited here.
No, say hello to Jane, the lovely Jane.
Hi, Jane.
Hi, Jane. Okay, so... So, John, you've got this new, long-threatened new Yes album is a reality.
It's a reality. There is life after...
After Anderson, Bruford, Wakeman, Howe, and Union.
Yes, you got it.
And Talk.
And Talk.
And Trevor Rabin, yes.
There's life after everything. It seems only natural. You know, I said to you a couple of months ago when we were talking about stuff that this album was really coming along great. I was always surprised how the recording came over so well, and obviously the new songs. Mm-hmm. And here it is.
We're talking about Keys to Ascension, which is a new double album from Yes, which is actually coming out on Tuesday, the official release date. It's on the CMC International label. And we had talked, I guess it was back in March when you guys got together. You got Steve Howe and Rick Wakeman to come on over to near your house in San Luis Obispo.
Yeah.
And record 3 nights of great music. Of course, everybody's heard the bootleg tape, so we know how great it sounded there.
Exactly.
But somehow you managed to record it professionally, and of course, it's not all on this album, right? You did like 3 hours a night.
Sure. We finished up actually writing enough new music and the recordings of the live music to make 2 albums.
Right.
We've got 1 album coming out Tuesday.
Right.
And the next double CD will be out the 1st of March, around the first week. And
I see. And that will be the rest of the live stuff?
It'll be the rest of the live stuff plus an hour of new music.
An hour of new music. Wow. Yeah. Wow, that is great. Well, how did you guys get on? You had Rick and Steve back. It's been a while since you were together. How did it go?
You know, it's amazing how over the years you learn to love people more. And I think we all understand how... from any musical standpoint, we're all still good at what we do. So there's that pride in working together, which covers any sort of feeling of frustration that, you know, we were a band that was on the road and recording for 10 years solid, and we found out towards the end of 79 it was impossible to work together anymore at that time. Mm-hmm. But here we are 15 years down the line, very eager to work together for the next 2 or 3 years in the hope that we can take the band into the 21st century. So we get rid of our egos and let the music take over, you know?
Yeah, and if you could only get rid of all the managers, lawyers, agents, record people.
Oh, my God. Yeah, I've always said the music is easy, the rest is hard work.
Exactly,
you know?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, we talked about the recording. Now, did you have to kind of doctor them up at all, or is it pretty much live as it was recorded?
It's actually Tuesday night. It's funny that...
Really?
Yeah. I thought there was 1 song from Monday and 1 song from Wednesday, but the bulk of the actual recordings were from Tuesday night.
I see. Which were the ones from Monday and Wednesday?
You know, I forgot. Starship Trooper Monday night.
Okay.
And Wednesday... Turn of the Century, which is coming on the next album.
I see. Well, the funny thing is that's incredible because that Monday night was kind of supposed to be the dress rehearsal, and it was added on as a public performance at the last minute.
Yeah, we found that we could get the actual theater for that Monday. We didn't know until Saturday.
But it was, in other words, this is your first real public performance of Starship Trooper as this unit in years. Incredible.
Well, I don't know. It's like riding a bike. As soon as you get into the chords and everybody starts playing, you think, this is so good. You know, it's a treasure.
And by all accounts, the people that were there just said Steve Howe was a maniac.
He was
just
raving.
Incredible.
He was totally raving. Somebody. I can't tell you exactly what I was thinking when I saw him dancing around on stage. I thought, my God, the batteries are working.
Wow.
I think somebody plugged his guitar into the mains.
Right. Well, let's play that. Let's start right out with a live version of Starship Trooper from the brand new album Keys to Ascension.
Tell the people at home, turn it up.
Turn it up? Okay.
Put the headphones on and whack it up.
Turn it up to 11?
11.
All right, here's Yes. We're speaking with Jon Anderson. More to come here on the Classic Cafe on MMR.
Thank you so much.
It's the Classic Cafe on MMR. Ed Sciaky speaking with Jon Anderson, Starship Trooper.
There's a movie coming out next summer called Starship Troopers.
Really? Will they be using the song?
I doubt it.
Oh.
They should do.
Well, they should, and then you could get you and your various hundreds of managers and agents could get royalties.
Exactly. we never get a damn thing out of all this stuff. You know, we just survive.
You know,
we could get a cameo. We could become the monsters. You know.
You know, Ray Davies has just been in town doing his one-man show. I don't know if you've had a chance to see it.
I saw him on TV.
Well, and he has a book out. But he talks a lot about how the fact that the Kinks really got screwed. You know, they just never got their money. You know, the money went halfway around the world to different companies and agents and foreign publishers, and they never got anything. You know.
Hey, you know, I always wonder why Frank Sinatra keeps working. He's got to pay the bills.
Yeah.
You know, his records.
Somehow I think he gets his money. I don't know.
Yeah, probably. But you know, it's like that's par for the course. You're in music. You've got success. You travel the world. You know, there's got to be some sort of. I mean, if everybody got their money and put it in the bank, everybody'd be out there playing golf.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they wouldn't be making music, but because you have to survive, it projects you to want to make more music. And now, I'm very lucky. I've become total workaholic. I don't think so much about the money.
Yeah.
I never did, actually. That's probably why I didn't get much out of it. But you know, if I look back, I don't sit there and feel bad about it. I just think, hey, it was supposed to be that way so that I could keep going.
Yeah.
And it helps. You know, it keeps everybody, I suppose, on their toes. And, you know, you never know next year if they're going to release Starship Troopers. We might release it as a single.
Mm-hmm. Well, you've just kept working regardless. You've done so many solo albums and projects and movies, scene themes, and
I just finished one last week.
Finished one what?
A new project.
Really?
Yeah, it's called 2002.
Really?
Yeah.
Is this a new album?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's Irish music.
Okay. Well, you know, I'm thinking maybe there should be, you know, they have Columbia House and BMG Music Club.
Yeah.
There should be a Jon Anderson Music Club where you, every month, you get sent in the mail the new Jon Anderson album.
I could do it. No problem. It might not be as good as, you know, but it'll certainly come from the heart.
You are amazing. Let's talk about one of the new tunes. Which one did you write first?
That is the middle song in the middle.
Okay.
That talk is just a wordy and a man sort of song.
Yeah.
And the one that I think, generally speaking, that me and Chris got together a year ago and started writing together for the first time in many, many years. And we sort of bonded again, you know, and we wrote, he was writing this amazing bass line, and I started singing this sort of stuff on top of it. And later on, when I looked at what I was trying to sing, I realized I was singing about gang life and basically any kind of gang life creates warfare, whether it's in Bosnia or L.A. or Northern Ireland. The people that suffer are the children. Because if you remember, you read every now and again about crossfire and some kid gets killed in the you know, when the gangs are trying to fight for their territory. It's like war, you know, it's war out there, and all of a sudden I'm singing about this stuff now. My gosh, what am I singing about? But that's what it came out as, you know. And
crack babies, and isn't that part of it?
One of the girls on crack, and it just finishes up. They take out this kid in the middle of the night trying to get some more crack, and of course this car comes screaming around the corner, and there's a gangland shootout, and the child gets killed. And you think, that's the innocence of us, you know, that's how we really shoot our innocence away within that acceptance of gang life and acceptance of warlike tendencies, whether it's a small band of people in Philly or L.A. or New York or Rio, because it happens all over the world, believe me, London, and then you have your major gang events, which is your warlike tendencies in Bosnia and Northern Ireland and stuff.
So basically, you and Chris wrote this whole piece, or how did it come to be this?
Yeah, there was the middle section. I've started writing a lot with Alan White, and the middle chorus of that is called All in All. And we just enjoyed putting that whole piece together. Steve was there, and he was writing this lovely sort of guitar idea, and I just suggested that he puts that at the beginning of the piece. So by the time you've sort of stuck it all together with super glue, at the end of the piece you feel like this will sound really good on stage.
Uh-huh.
And if you do some projections of energy, some interesting projection on the screens, it would look very powerful. And you look around and you say, how long is it? And they say, hey, it's 19 minutes long. I said, well, this is classic. Yes, it wasn't hard to make,
And, of course, nobody will play it on the radio except that crazy Ed Sciaky guy, right?
Exactly.
Right. But who cares, right?
Hey, you know, come on, you're still there, we're still there.
That's right. But, well, I guess it invites comparisons to things like Close to the Edge but maybe more like a side of Topographic where it's more or less different songs put together.
Yeah, or even Gates of Delirium.
Right.
But then, we're recording in 10 Days in L.A. Another piece called Mind Drive.
Wow.
Which is to do with a system that's just coming through the marketplace, all about how you can look at the screen of your computer and you have your finger on this button, and you can actually make things move on the screen, because your mind says turn left or turn right, and they've actually got words that you can think, like if you think of the word, say, Christmas, it comes up on the screen. Yeah.
And that'll be part of the next album?
That's the next project, yeah.
Right. So really, in a way, you're kind of writing a little bit more down to earth these days, John. Would you say? I mean, just more about real things as opposed to more mystical thing. I don't know,
Hard to say, because I know that Mind Drive, the central pivotal song in the middle, is about how when you're really concerned about and you worry so much about things that the angels will come and enfold their wings around your soul and make you feel whole. If you want that side of your life to get better, all you got to do is ask, because the angels are there all the time. So that's that logical side of my world.
Okay.
That comes out in songs,
Let's let people hear on the radio here that is, which is the final track. It's the long track and I guess the real first return to collaboration for all you guys.
Yeah.
After quite a while.
It's a great moment. You hear that wild saxophone of Rick Wakeman.
Really?
Yeah, we have this sort of saxophone sound.
He plays on the keyboard?
Yeah.
Great. All right, let's listen to that. That is brand new Yes from Keys to Ascension, due out on Tuesday here on the Classic Cafe, WMMR.
Yabba yabba, hi, this is Jon Anderson of Yes, and you're listening to Classic Cafe with Ed Sciaky, that guy again, on the home of rock and roll 93.3 WM.
Which is a very interesting label that's put out some interesting stuff. They just put out a new Justin Hayward solo album.
Right.
Maybe they'll put out some John Anderson solo albums.
Well, actually, they did ask me would I be interested in doing a project with them. And I've always wanted to work with Jack DeJohnette. And,
really?
Tony Levin and maybe Dave, what's that guy called, the keyboard player I used to work with? Dave Sanchez.
Oh, yeah.
He's really good. And, hey... So I was talking to Paul Simon the other day. I said, how about some publishing money on this song? If we're going to release America on our new album, I want some publishing money. He said, no problem.
Were you really talking to him?
No.
No. It was a dream. He came to you in a dream.
He came to me in a dream. He said, please, John, I need the money.
Yeah.
Please sing America again and release it as a single.
Right. Now, in the history of Yes, you didn't do that many covers. You did a Beatles song. You did, early on you did some things, but...
We did a couple.
But lately, not much, and America really stands out as one of those great, great covers.
Chris wants me to do Night of a Thousand Eyes.
Really?
Yeah.
But this really stands out. I remember when I first saw you, John, you remember the date, right?
Yeah.
July 7th, 71. Where was it?
I remember when I first met you, we couldn't get into the buffet room. You were blocking the door.
I see. Thank you.
Inside.
Thank you. No, it was at Wildwood Convention Hall. You opened for Jethro Tull.
Yeah, I remember it.
And you played America that night.
Exactly, I remember it. Because it was a sort of very old wooden sort of theater by the sea.
That's right.
I remember.
And that cover, I mean, there was something about it. What was it about that song that you think, lent itself to become a Yes song? Because it's such a great Paul Simon song.
It's a great song. we all come to America to discover it, to find out what really ticks here, And the first time I spoke with Chris Squire about making music when we first met, we said, what are our favorite songs? And I just said, well, I love Paul Simon and Garfunkel album. Weekends was out. And he said, yeah, America, man, that's a great song. I said, about 6 months later, we were rehearsing, and I said, let's try America. It's a great song, and we'd just done No Experience Necessary from Richie Havens. A song from Steve Still's Everydays. And then we were doing America.
And you did something that's coming from West Side Story.
West Side Story.
Yeah, so, in fact, you could have done America from West Side Story as a medley with America.
We did. Originally, it was, Peter Banks was playing da-da-da-da-da-da-da. He was doing like the Keith Emerson version of America.
Right. Well, let's play the new live version. This came out unbelievable, and I don't think you've ever released a live version, have you, of this song?
No, this is the first live version of what we've never released. Revealing as a live song. Onward. This is Like America, and it's great because they're really. I can say it. They're just really great recordings, and the band was very happy, and you listen to it. It's really fun.
And this was recorded in a little theater in San Luis Obispo. About 500 people in the theater, something like that.
It was one of these really Art Deco theaters called Fremont, and it just actually looks like a Roger Dean built it. Kind of Roger Deanism. It's so funny.
All right, here's America from the new Yes album, Keys to Ascension, here on the Classic Cafe, WMFA, WMMR. And there you have the full-length album version of America from the new live album, Keys to Ascension. That is mostly live. 2 new tracks. We heard That Is back there, also the long one. And also we heard in there Starship Trooper. From Yes, more of our conversation with Jon Anderson a little later on. We'll take a little break from the Yes, and we'll do some speaking with Jon Anderson on the line. Yes, doing a warm-up show in the streets of New York around 26th Street and 5th Avenue about 8:30 in the morning on Tuesday. And then at 9, they're going to be on this show, Fox After Breakfast, which airs here on Channel 29. They're going to do America Live around 25 after 9 on the show. But if you're heading up to New York Tuesday for the ticker tape parade, why not head a little earlier? I mean, or maybe you want to avoid New York because of the ticker tape parade. But I'm going. I'm not going to let that. I'm going to be there. 8:30 in the morning, 26th and 5th. Yes, performing about a half an hour warm-up set in the street. Steve Howe, Rick Wakeman coming in just for the occasion with Yes, and it should be a lot of fun. That's the word. Let's continue our conversation recorded on Friday with Jon Anderson. It was his 52nd birthday, and we continue to preview this new double live Yes album called Keys to Ascension here on the Classic Cafe. 93.3 WMMR Philadelphia. Ed Sciaky with Jon Anderson here on the Ed Sciaky with Jon Anderson here on the Classic Cafe. Let's talk about the other new track, which is the 10-minute track, which is called Be the One. Where did this one come from? Another one?
Again, it was me and Chris. He started playing the bass line, and it was wonderful how, we got together a year ago. Just a year and a half ago, he came around to the house that I was living in at the time. And, we just sat there, and he'd get the guitar out, the bass guitar, and we must have written, about 10, 15 ideas, songs and things. So it was really easy to make music with Chris, just enjoy a very simple idea of a song. And, of course, in the middle of the song, it jumps into another world, which is this thing called Humankind, which is a sort of heavy sort of rock song that I'd written when I was living in a beautiful place called San Clemente. I was living by the beach in a motel. This is only about 4 years ago. I was living in room number 9. And I remember I'd had a couple of drinks of beer, and I thought, I want to do some rock and roll songs. So I wrote about 10 rock and roll songs in that day. And that was one of them, Humankind. So it came out as a very nice segue from one song to the next, It's President Clinton's on the other phone. Can you just hold on a second?
Sure.
I can't come. So there you go. These guys, he wants to come and play sax with the band. I said, come on, Bill, you're not good enough.
You see. Well, how about Bob Dole? Should we get him in the band? All right. No.
Well, is he going to come and play pencil?
I don't know.
Oh, no.
All right. So let's do that. This is another one that you wrote with Chris.
No, it's not that is.
Yeah,
Ed, you're
I'm
getting
sorry.
mixed up.
No, I'm confused.
Be the one.
Be the one. Be the one.
It'll work. It'll all come out in the wash.
So the other track is Be the One, and so after you and Chris got it together, then you had the other guys come along and add their parts and do that. How did you finish it up?
Again, we were all together.
Right.
Rick, unfortunately, wasn't able to be at the session, so he came in I think it was about a month afterwards, after the actual recordings.
Right.
But he was there at the live show, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But then he had to go off and do some more work that he does. You know, he travels the world.
I had heard his mother had been ill, and in fact she had died.
It was a very difficult period for Rick to be able to fly in and fly out. So, but he was great. He did it. Mm-hmm. But the next project, we're all together in 2 weeks' time.
Okay, and everybody, says, what about the tour?
Yeah, I'll be on tour tomorrow if we can get the promoters interested,
Really? So
I think they will. I think as soon as the album starts to really take off a little bit,
mm-hmm.
As I said, we just got back from Paris and
doing promotion, right?
Great reviews in Europe.
Wow.
So, all we need, the business starts to think, oh, yes, they're still alive. Let's get them on the road. And people, in fact, some people are very interested in putting together a big tour starting next spring, and we'll be there.
Okay. All right. Let's do Be the One here. Classic Cafe on MMR. Jon Anderson of Yes. It's the Classic Cafe here on WMMR. We're speaking with the birthday boy, Jon Anderson, celebrating a birthday on Friday.
I know.
With the release of the new album Keys to Ascension by Yes on Tuesday. So you finally got down to doing revealing. This must have been incredible to come back together with Rick and Steve and then to attack one of the most difficult pieces of Yes music and perform it live, which you hadn't done in years since, I guess, the last time you toured with it when the album came out, right? I mean, I don't know, when's the last time you did a live?
22 years ago.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
And absolutely incredible, because then you went and you did it every single night. But how did you get it together in just a few weeks of rehearsal to come and do this?
The main thing was we spoke about rehearsing together in the October-November period of last year, so that everybody knew what they had to learn at home to prepare to rehearse. So, we talked about revealing. I wanted to edit it down a bit. Steve was very sort of dominant about, no, we must remember, let's play it the way it should be played, as it was written.
Right.
And I said, okay. And the wonderful thing was that when we started recording it and rehearsing it and putting it together, it just did sound so good. And you start thinking that, hey, this is 22 years ago, we wrote this piece of music. We went through hell and high water to perform this piece of music.
Right.
And here we are, so many years later, actually doing it right and making it sound good. So this recording of Revealing, it means so much to me as to why we kept going as Yes, why the fans stuck with us. There must have been a reason for it all, because here we are at this sort of center of the middle of the 90s, on the threshold of a really good sort of energy for the band, a good album coming out, touring next year, and you get a feeling that that's why we did what we did in the 70s, was to be still around now.
Right.
So it's a kind of great feeling.
Speaking of topographic, though, there's probably, people who are not even familiar with this album. It's so long ago, and really the diehard Yes fans took it to their hearts, but the mass public never really did.
Yeah.
Can you give us just a brief kind of thing of what Topographic was about and what this particular side of the album was about?
Well, very simply, we just started touring the Close to the Edge album, and it was a very difficult period from any musical standpoint to do a 20-minute piece of music and two 10-minute pieces of music and keep the audience interested. So we started using Roger Dean's stage designs. We actually started using lasers. And if you remember, we used dry ice. And we started to do very good modern theater. So the next step was, well, what do we do on the next album? Hey, why don't we just do 4 20-minute pieces of music? Why don't we really take both the musicians and the stage design and then the audience on a real journey of, modern, technically modern musical theater, if you like, with really good songs and melodies and things like that. And of course, you enter into that with great sort of enthusiasm. And was based on some of the writings of Sri Ramakrishna and Yogananda, very spiritual thinking. The four movements were the revealing, which is what we see every day. The remembering is what we remember, the history of being alive. The ancient, which is something that we don't even know about. We only live in local history. You could say that. And then the ritual of life was the fourth movement. So to perform these on tours, you remember, it was quite an event to actually do that.
Incredible.
And we all went through so much doing that album that year, that 1 year period. It nearly broke the band up. Rick left the band. So there was a lot of frustration around it.
Yeah.
It was heavily criticized and actually loved by lots of people.
Absolutely.
So, you know, in the band's career, this is like an amazing evolution that we actually still carried on.
Right, and the tours following it, you tended to do, if you did any of it, you did Ritual, as I recall.
Yeah, we carried on doing the Ritual, and even Leaves of Green song from side 3.
But so this is unusual that you went back to side 1.
Well, that was the challenge. I mean, we could all get together and make an album of Roundabout and Starship Troopers people. And that would be a retro album. But I said to everyone, look, the most important thing really should be we do Revealing, and we do Awaken, and let's delve into where the history of the band is,
and the heart, and really the
heart and soul of the band.
Yeah.
And then that pushed us into doing that. That is, I'm sure. And then, as I've said before, you know, the next album will have another large-scale piece, because I think, quite honestly, that's a stamp of recognition of anybody who's interested in the band. Will bring these new people in, you know, that have never heard the band. They're going to say, where does this music come from?
Right.
You know, so we're very proud of it.
Let's tell people, before we let you go, that you're going to be on Fox After Breakfast on Tuesday morning.
Tuesday morning.
Right. And they can actually come to New York and see you play. You'll be on the street, or what?
We're going to be on a beautiful sort of sidewalk stage.
Really?
Near the Fox building. I think it's down on, I don't know, you have to find out, 37th and 5th. Or something like that. And it's we're going to be doing probably about a half an hour warm up. We're going to do, you know, a few roundabout, all the people.
So we're talking like 8:30 in the morning or something, right?
Yeah, we'll be playing at 8:30 in the morning.
Okay.
And then I know it sounds crazy, but hey, we want people to know that we're still around, and we want people to get the chance to see us. And I love that actual breakfast show.
It's good.
Yeah.
And so, all right, and then you'll
get on Letterman. So I said, let's do the Fox thing.
Well, that's outrageous.
I know, how dare they? Who do they think we are?
I'm going to give Dave a call. But anyway, so that's Tuesday morning, and then you'll be on Fox After Breakfast. You're going to perform America on the show, right?
Yeah.
So they can watch it on the Fox station here and see that Tuesday morning. And then the in-store, you're going to be, signing the album, I guess, Tuesday at 6 p.m. at HMV.
We'll just be meet and greet, shaking hands, and that kind of stuff.
And this is HMV at 87th, I think, in New York, right?
Yeah, you got it.
So if folks want to go, because I don't think you're coming to Philly on this particular promotional tour. Is that it? I guess not.
I think it's simply because of, Rick having to go back.
Yeah.
He's just staying for a couple of days and going back home.
Right.
And then our obvious next step is to come and do some concerts in Philly, you know. And,
that would be great.
We'll be there.
Yeah, there was talk of you doing a solo show in L.A. or out in L.A., I guess.
I was ready to come and play at the Academy there.
Oh.
And I need a manager, Ed.
Really? All right.
We do.
I'm available. All right. So, but you're not going to
drive you crazy, Ed.
But I know.
We can talk to each other once a year, and that's about it. Okay. Can you imagine me twice a day?
Oh God.
Giving you a hard time.
All right. No show scheduled at the moment right now, right?
Not as yet.
Not yet. Okay.
Everybody look out for my new album, 2002, coming up.
Coming up.
It's the most fun. Jane's singing with me.
On what label is this?
It's on Higher Octave.
Higher Octave. Okay.
Yeah,
they had Angel's Embrace.
You got it.
Right. And of course, Wyndham Hill had Toltec, and Angel had Change We Must.
Exactly.
So you pretty much are conquering all the labels one at a time, right? Okay.
They're dropping like flies. I can't believe it.
Jon Anderson, thanks so much again. Happy birthday, and let's play. We're going to play "Revealing Science of God." But I am something. Well, I'm actually going to play this on the radio. Isn't it amazing?
It's the best thing.
I impress myself.
It's the best thing.
It is.
It's good for you.
It is good.
Sit back, relax. Don't worry about how long it is. It's just
exactly.
It's just one of those pieces of music that takes you to that point.
Right.
You know,
Here's
wonderful place.
Yes with Jon Anderson here on the Classic Cafe on WMMR. John, hope to see you soon.
See you soon.
And there you have it, The Revealing Science of God, side one of Tales from Topographic Oceans, performed live by Yes on the Tuesday night of those 3 shows out in San Luis Obispo back in March. Now on the new live, mostly live double album, Keys to Ascension, coming out on Tuesday. Our thanks to Jon Anderson. We wish him a happy 52nd. We'll wrap up the Classic Cafe with some odds and ends coming up next here on MMR.
WMMR presents